Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's 10-minute webinar, How to Spot a Phishing Email. This webinar is a listen and learn presentation, so if you have any questions along the way, you can go ahead and enter them into the Q&A section of the platform, and we'll answer them either as we go along or at the end of the presentation. If at all you need to move the video screen around, you can drag that around to the best position for your watching preference. We are recording this webinar and we will be posting it up on our resource page so that you'll have access to it anytime so you can share it with your colleagues or employees. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn this presentation over to our host, Kenny Rounds.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. As Jen mentioned, this is a webinar on phishing. It's kind of a special one for us. We're going to go a little more in depth than we normally do. So this one might go a little longer than the 10-minute time frame that ours normally go. As Jen mentioned, we are recording this and we're going to post it. So if you do have to bail after 10 minutes and miss all the great topics, it will be on there. But then also more importantly, we're going to put it on there so you can share it with your entire staff. It's really important that everybody gets educated on this. We wanted to do this phishing one. It's a segment of our cybersecurity overall training. Phishing is obviously the #1 thing that's hitting the entire IT industry. So though it was really good to just focus on just phishing and how to spot a phishing, we're going to go into actual emails so you can actually see the breakdown of what to look for. And with that, let's get into it. So we are first page. So we're basically, I got to get my mouse on here. There we go. Okay, so we are Braver Technology Solutions. We're a managed service provider here up in the Northeast. We've been around for 30 years. We're amazing, all of the great stuff. And you can obviously call us for anything. So what do we want to cover today? We're going to talk about how phishing works. What is it that's kind of so good about the phishing? User education, prevention, and then how to protect your company. So with that, let's get right into it. The first thing to know about phishing is that the emails themselves don't have any payload in them. That's why they are able to get through a lot of the scanning in place, because a phishing email looks and acts exactly like a regular email. It requires you to do something and you to interact with it. And that's why they're so successful at getting through, and that's why they're so good at it. They're great at tricking people. I think we're required on every webinar to do some kind of stat slide on it. So I'm not going to bore everybody to go into the details of this. I think we can all generalize it saying phishing is a huge problem and it hits a lot of people. Pretty sure that's what you have in here, right, Jen? Is that the gist of it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So we're going to go through the commonalities of phishing. So basically, a phishing email is going to either come from a trusted source or look like it came from a trusted source, one or the other. It could come from a trusted source if somebody else has been the victim of a phishing attack. That's when it'll come from a trusted source. And that trusted source could be inside your own company. So that could be from your colleague, the HR department, the CFO, anybody like that. If their account has been breached, it could come directly from them. So really important. But then also they're going to try really hard to emulate it looking like somebody, looking like it came from your client, looking like it came from a vendor, looking like it came from somebody you know, just by changing little things in the email address. The other thing it's going to do is typically create some kind of urgency. It's going to be a click now, go here, do this. You're going to see that in a lot of the examples that we go into. And the last thing it's going to do is going to request something from you. It's going to bring you to some kind of portal. Typically, it's going to require you to log in. So it could come from something that looks like a government agency. Again, here's our 3 primary criteria. Software vendors is going to look for any kind of software vendors. These are all commonplaces, especially in tax season right now. And just some kind of trusted authority, some kind of government agency, anything like that. All right, let's get into the actual examples. So this is a one-pager that Jen did an awesome job in her department creating this one-pager. Jen, I think we're also going to post a link to this right underneath the video when it's done, right? Is that
That
correct?
is correct. It'll be downloadable. Yes.
Okay, so this will be downloadable. We want to be able to have you be able to send this out to your user base and get them so they can actually have a quick cheat sheet of what to look for. Not only the webinar and the video part of it, but something to keep in front of them. All right, I'm going to start with one that's going to be probably the most curious one that you'd say, okay, why would you start with this? I'm going to start with this email here. This email has nothing on it. There's nothing vicious about this email, actually. Why would I start with this? Well, I'm going to start with it for a couple things. This email came in and it has no subject on it. It has no payload on it. There's nothing. I cannot get myself in trouble with this email. Why on earth would I get this email? You might have gotten some like this too, where you're like, all right, I don't get this. Why would I get an email with XCZ? What they're trying to do is basically they're testing your email address. They're testing to see if that email will get delivered. This is just like scrubbing a marketing list. You're checking to see, okay, did I get a bounce packet undeliverable? Did I get something? Let me clean my list for when I actually want to do the actual attack. They're also looking for key things. What if you had an out of office on your email? If you sent an out of office based on this email, they're going to get a message back saying, oh, perfect, they're on vacation during this week. Or they're going, this is a great time for me to start attacking them. Or even better, I'm going to start emulating them. Remember when I said at the beginning, when you send out an email, they're going to pretend that they are somebody in your company. If you're the HR person, I send you this email and I just got an out of office response, I can now pretend I'm you sending a fake email to other people in the company saying, hey, listen, while I'm out, can you make sure you do this? And that's where the malicious part starts. So this email in and of itself is actually kind of like it's sort of like a gateway email, if you will. Unfortunately, there's nothing you're going to do with it. It's just something to look out for going through. So let's go into the actual payload emails, the ones that we're going to go look for. Okay, what's the first thing that you want to look for? As I mentioned, the from address. So you can see on this one, our from address is very generic. It says from yourpayrollcompany.com.au. So basically it's saying the subject line is meant to get your attention. User account created. All right, where did a user account get created? But now we're going to go into the first thing I always want you to look at is the from address. I want you to look at who that is from. I want you to see if that is an actual email address. I want you to see if there's any misspellings in that email address. If it came from Amazon, does Amazon have an extra dot in there? Or does Amazon have a 2 instead of a Z? I want you to look at those domain names and make sure that they're actual valid email addresses that they came from. So this is another one. This is a great example. So basically, this is a from address I want you to look at as well. So as you can see, when this popped up on the screen, it said it came from Braver Technology IT department. But when you dig in a little deeper on the from address, look what happens. It's obviously not from Braver Technology. Look, it's from emailblocks.com, whoever that is. But they even went and put his IT department at emailblocks.com. Again, what they're trying to do is emulate a valid email address. So the first thing I want you to look at is the from address. All right, next thing to look at, and this one's a little less known, is to look at the time of day. What time was the email sent? So who sends a valid email at 5:27? Well, I do, but other than me, most of the time your spam phishers are going to send this because they're coming from overseas in a different time zone. So take a look at that timestamp on when it came in. If this is coming from somebody that you know, or looks like it's coming from somebody you know, and it's emailing at a time when you know they would never email you, that's a clue. That's something for you to look into and keep an eye on to say, okay, why is this person sending this to me at this time? Doesn't make sense. Okay, let's go into another example. I'm going to go into the to field. So who is this sent to? So obviously this one is a fake one from PayPal. I want you to look at a couple things that are really good on this one, right? So first thing I want you to look at the from field again. It says paypal.com. However, do you see inside those brackets? See inside the brackets, it actually isn't from PayPal. It's actually from naviance.com. Email is a very insecure platform. I can pretend to send an email from anybody I want to. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. It's no different from me sending you a letter in the actual post office with a different from address. I can put anything I want in there. So again, that's the from address. But then look at the to. If PayPal is going to send an email to everybody, it's not going to send it to all those people. That's just not how they work. They're only going to send it to you going through. So there's two things to look at. Like I said, I want you to look at that from address. That from address says paypal.com. But if you look at the actual email address that's in the brackets, it's actually naviance.com. So it's not from them. I'm going to go over and I'm going to have you take a look at this one. So the reason I want you to look at this one, this is actually a valid PayPal account. This is an actual valid email account. Now look what it looks like. It's great. It actually just says service@paypal.com. Says my name on it. Says update it. This is what a valid one looks like. But I want you to see this because this one looks so similar to the fake one. Look at how similar these two look. This is a fake one, and that's the real one. So they look very, very close to each other. So it's tough to spot them sometimes. All right, let's talk about where the actual trouble comes in. The actual trouble comes in with hyperlinks. All right, hyperlinks are what they want you to click on. My gosh, they really, really want you to click on that. That's where they start to get you. Once you get into that hyperlink, they're going to start asking you for various usernames, passwords, stuff like that. First one to look at is this hyperlink right here. This one should be suspicious right off the bat. Look at the way that hyperlink looks. It doesn't match any it doesn't have any valid domain name on it. It's basically a small encrypted hyperlink. So you want to basically be suspicious of anything that doesn't look like a valid hyperlink, that looks like it's just a questioning one. But what happens if the hyperlink looks like this? So the hyperlink looks like this. Well, this one came from Costco. You're eligible. So you can't see what the hyperlinks are on these ones. They look like, this looks like an actual Costco email. So what I want you to do on these ones, I want you to hover your mouse over the link. Don't click on the link. I want you to hover your mouse over the link. When you hover your mouse over the link, you're going to see this window pop up. This window is going to tell you where you're actually clicking. And you want to make sure that that address looks like something valid. In this case, if this was a valid address, it would look like it came from Costco.com right at the top of that. I'm going to show you what a valid one looks like in a couple minutes. So basically, you're going to hover over that because what they're doing here is they're masking the true hyperlink. Just like in the previous email where they were masking the true from address, in this one, they're masking the true hyperlink on where you're going. So you want to hover over this, you want to look at it saying, wait a minute, is this valid or is this not valid? This is going to happen again. You want to keep this out for Amex, Chase, any vendor you can possibly think of. They're going to Pinterest, you name it. They're going to try and emulate all of them. I want to show you something else on here. I want to show you that they went as far, they didn't just go through one single hyperlink and did it. They did every single hyperlink on this email. The button goes nowhere. The unsubscribe, no, it doesn't go nowhere. It goes to a payload site. The unsubscribe goes to a payload site. To be removed from this list, click here goes to a payload site. All of these links all go to a payload site. As you can see what it looks like. I have the picture of the image of the hovering over the hyperlink in there. Look at all those links in there. Those are all bad news. The other thing that should be a little bit of a clue here, they have both an unsubscribe and remove me from the link from the email list in here. They wanted you to click on on either one of those, so they're willing to put both of them in there. No good marketing person will give you too many ways to unsubscribe to their list. They don't want to put the unsubscribe in there in the first place. All right, so let's go into this hyperlink here. So I want to show you this one because this one is actually a valid link. So this is what it actually looks like. So look at when I hover over this hyperlink, it says in this top part, it says fraudulent prevention. That's not the part that I want you to worry about. I want you to look at the last part here. It says chase.com. That's how I know where it goes to, the fact that it says chase.com. Now, I want you to also keep an eye on this. They do get clever where what they will do is they'll do that chase.com, but then they'll also do .xyz.com. So just because it says just the chase.com in there is not enough. The chase.com has to be the last thing. That's where you're actually going to. You're only going to the last part of that domain name. So keep an eye on what is valid and what is not. But this is what a valid email looks like. This was actually a valid email in here. All right, subject lines. This is what they're trying to get you. This is all about the clickbait. They want to get you something that's going to get your attention. So when they send you something, so this is one, this email looks really, really valid to me. I actually had to send this one to our office manager and ask her, I'm like, are we doing anything with this company? Because I just got a password reset request from them. I don't even recognize them, but it looks like something we do phone systems, we do number porting. Is this an actual number porting site? She said, no, I don't know who this is. So I have this email that came in and said it was a password reset request from this company. What they're trying to do is get you to click on that link. They're like, hey, listen, this is going to look really legit. Password reset. How do I do my password reset? That's a very common one to come in. User account created is another common one. What's another one that is extremely common? Voicemail messages. Voicemail messages, because so many systems now come in with voicemail via email, this is a great opportunity for them to send that to you. What do they want you to do in this one? They want you to click the attachment. That's where they want you to go on this one. They want to click the attachment. This particular attachment, you can see it ends in HTML. Well, that's an actual website. So that's the same as clicking on a link. They're actually trying to get you to go into that website. However, this could be just as dangerous with a Word document, an Excel document, a PDF document. Any of these could be just as dangerous. Do not open attachments unless you know that that attachment is something you're waiting for. Again, this is really, really key for you to look onto. I want you to take a look again at the from address on this one. It says Braver Technology. They're trying to make it look like it came from internal, even though it did not come from internal. As you can see, I don't know who that domain name belongs to, but it sure as heck isn't us. So they're trying to make it look like it's a voicemail message that came from us. All right. Next thing to look at is the, more attachments. So this is another one that's really popular. So it's an attachment of an email inside an email. So this one has been coming in. We've been seeing this come out a lot more often as well, where they're sending you an attached email on an email. You do not want to open up that email. No, very rarely are you going to get a valid email that's an attachment to another email. Once you open up that one, you're now opening up the actual payload. You're opening up the corrupt email message, if you were. And again, look at the subject line. They're trying to get you to think that it's a voicemail message. Oh my, who left me a message? Oh, I can't miss a call from a client. I can't miss a call from a vendor. That sense of urgency that we talked about, that's what they're going after. What sense of urgency can they get you? Is it a spiff? Is it a special? Is it a voicemail message? I need to do something. I want to show you something else too. So it's very, very popular for, as you can see, these email messages are coming from people who are pretending to be us. So how do we get around that? We put in this notice in the email message that basically highlights the fact that this email originated from outside your organization. That's really, really key. If you don't have this on your system right now, contact your MSP department, contact us. We've done this for the majority of our clients already. I think we did it a couple of years ago. Basically, you want to have that notification in there that this came from outside your company, because again, when the phishing comes in, they're going to pretend that they're from inside your company. All right, let's go into the next one. I'm going to go into this one because this one actually didn't come from an email. This actually came from a text message. This has been coming in more and more popular. And so what happens in this, and we've had, unfortunately, somebody who did fall victim to this. They clicked on this, successfully had somebody come into their phone, start phishing around their phone. When they got on the phone with the person said, okay, great, your phone is clean. Now let's go over to your computer and make sure your computer's clean. They walk over to the computer and start giving them access into the computer as well. And so they start going into that computer. This has happened several times, unfortunately. So keep an eye out on this. The text messages can be dangerous as well, because now they're getting into your phone. Think about everything that's on your phone. You have Venmo accounts, PayPal accounts, password credential. These are all the things that you're giving them access to on your phone. So keep in mind, malicious things can come in via text message as well. All right, I'm going to get into the social engineering aspect of it. All right, so social engineering, I'm going to just cover this really, cover the topic quick. What they're trying to do is get information from you that they can then use in another way. I'm going to show you some of the ways that they use those information. Social engineering is a much more interactive approach where there's actually a person on the other line trying to get into your system or into your way of doing things and exploit you that way. What does that look like? Well, let's talk about wire transfers. This is what it looks like. Barbara Krikorian was a victim of social engineering, or her staff was. Somebody was able to manipulate them via email to get enough information about one of their vendors that they sent them a fake invoice via email, and they wire transferred that money off, and then that money is gone. Once the money is gone, it gets wired off, it gets transferred over to Bitcoins, and it's gone. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Work with your staff and your banks to make sure that you have security in place for wire transferring. Let's go through some sample spare phishing. Jen, I'm going to shoot through these quickly, so if I go through too quick, let me know, just pop up. Okay, here's a very common one. Basically, an email coming in saying, hey, I see you're in the chat and email, can it have a message I want to carry out? Again, just another one emulating somebody that's inside the company, sending somebody else. This is another one that looks like it's coming from inside the company, CEO, CFO, whatever it may be. These are what they actually look like. Hey, there's something. This is an actual email message, by the way. We had a client of ours that was kind enough to let us use this for this presentation. Something I need you to do. Let me know when you're available. 2 p.m. I have an afternoon break. I'll be available then. Great. Can you stop by before lunch and grab some gift cards? This is a really popular one that happens all the time. iTunes gift cards, Best Buy gift cards, Amazon gift cards, you name it. Can you go out and get me gift cards? This actually, unfortunately, works. So why do they want you the gift cards? They're going to ask you to scratch them off and give them the numbers for the gift cards. And then they're going to start depositing the gift cards. This is the client doing the right thing, saying, hey, David, this seems like an odd request. Can you tell me why I would want to do this? This is our customer being very smart and saying, this doesn't seem right. Something seems suspicious. This is the bad guy coming back saying, okay, well, never mind, let's back off. Unfortunately, too many times it keeps going down the road where they actually do go out the gift cards. They do start scratching them off, saying, good luck with the client. All right, let's go into another one. This is a really, really common one. Remember I told you about the out of office and the HR person and the CEO and everything like that. Let's say it was the CEO that was out of office. Somebody's going to send an email to the HR person saying, hey, listen, I want to update my paycheck. Can you update my direct deposit? Sure. This is the internal person saying, here's the form, go fill it out. Oh, yep. And I also need a voided check. Guess what? In this case, they sent the form back. They sent the voided check back. They sent everything back that needed to be done. And lo and behold, money got forwarded to a totally different bank account instead of the payroll company. Fake invoices. They're going to emulate, either you're going to be a possible victim of one or the other. Either your staff is going to receive fake invoices, or the bad guys are going to send fake invoices to your clients on your behalf. Both could happen either way. When they get that information, they're going to utilize it to the best of their ability. They're going to send a fake invoice out to, again, either your clients or your internal staff. We've seen this happen. We had to help a potential client go through this later on. They became a client, but this is what they came through. There was a whole issue between them and their vendor on who was at fault on this one. Go through. This is another one. It's a fake invoice. This one actually came to us. Totally fake. We don't know who this company is. We don't know this, but it looks like a valid invoice. And so it's just as easy, especially if you're a bigger corporation, you take this like, well, I'm not in charge of AP. You send it off to the AP person. The AP person receives it thinking, oh, well, this came from somebody inside my office. Must be valid. Like, if Tom sent this to me, he must want me to pay it. The AP person pays it. Come to find out, okay, why did you pay that? That has nothing to do. That's not a valid charge at all. All right. All right, next thing I want to go through, phishing testing. If you don't have it, you should have it in your office. You should have regular phishing testing so that you can train your staff. One thing I want you to take away from this, and those of you who go on our cybersecurity, I'm sorry, you're going to hear this over and over again, two-factor authentication. You really want to have two-factor authentication set up. It is free. It is the #1 defense that you can have against phishing attacks being successful and getting into your system. What happens when they get into your system? They log into that phishing account. Heaven forbid that person's an admin. Then it's just free reign. They're not going to do anything except for they're going to watch that person's email account. They're going to wait for a trigger event. They're going to watch client invoices. They're going to wait for them to go on vacation, and then that's when they're going to spring. They're going to see, okay, what of these emails can I do to Jen, am I not sharing my screen anymore?
Yeah, I can't see the screen.
Okay, sorry about that, everybody. So they're going to send that email off, and they're going to exploit it. They're going to exploit that email message. All right, let's go through. That's the system telling me I'm going too long. All right. We did a quick 10-minute webinar on how to set up two-factor authentication. It literally took 3 minutes. It took 3 minutes to set up two-factor authentication. We also have a flyer underneath that video on how to set it up. This is on our resources page. If you go to bravertechnology.com, resources, 10-minute training videos, you're going to see the video on how to set up two-factor authentication. Unlike this one, it literally took us 3 minutes. I had to talk for another 7 minutes just to make it look like it was worthwhile. So the two-factor case, and there's also a form that you can give your users. Jen actually put the QR codes on here, so you don't have to look in the Play Store or in the Google Store to find the apps. The apps are right here. Also, this is another one. Jen found this great site from Google that you can actually go through pretend phishing training, and it's actually really cool. You can put in a fake email address, and it actually quizzes you on a lot of the things that we just went through on how to spot a phishing email. And it tells you, was this a valid email or was it not a valid email? And they mix them up between valid and invalid ones. And then they tell you afterwards, nope, this is a bogus phishing email, and this is why. This is a valid email, and this is why. Okay, we're going to recap. We're going to, so basically, all your new people should go through some kind of cybersecurity training. We do quarterly cybersecurity training. Phishing emails are definitely part of that cybersecurity training, along with a lot of the other things that we want your staff to look at. Really important to have a secure workforce. So we went through how phishing works. We went through the user education and prevention, and we talked about preventing your company. I am Kenny Rounds from Braver Technology. These are upcoming 10-minute webinars. We went long, so I'm not sure if we're going to have time to go into the Q&As that are up here. No, I don't recommend not using out of office reply, Greg. It's a course of business, but it's a mixed bag. Obviously, anytime you do anything on your company, it's a gateway for people to know. So it's a balance between function and form. Another one that I use an example in a cybersecurity training is on your website. A lot of clients are really proud of their clients. So they have a list of all their clients on their website. They have a list of all their vendors on the website. They have a list of their internal staff on their website. Well, those are 3 keys that I need to start social engineering you. Does that mean you shouldn't do it? That's a tough call. On the marketing side, they're going to say they want it and need it. And on the security side, I'm going to say, geez, that's tough. It's a business decision at that point. Let's see, we're going to report the several open in your example. To figure out if a phishing email, one would open the email. Is there a way around? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so, okay, I get the question. So on the example I had where there was an email as an attachment to the email, the only way to figure it out was to open the attachment email. Is there a way to know if that email is actually an attachment, a genuine email or not? Well, it's kind of risky. Sometimes people do forward an email within an email. It drives me nuts personally, but some people do that. Is it a valid email? Well, so first off is to check, did that email come from somebody that you know? If that email came from somebody that you know, I would typically actually pick up the phone and call that person and say, hey, listen, before I open this, did you send this to me? Why wouldn't I just reply to the email? Well, let's say their email was compromised. If you email back, whoever was able to compromise their email is going to email you back in there as response to them saying, yeah, no, I sent it, please open it. And there's some great sections. I didn't want to bloat this presentation, but I have some that actually show correspondence that I had with somebody that I knew was fake, and they were so funny. They're like, no, you should definitely open that. You should definitely open that. Okay. So we're right at the half-hour mark, Jen. I think what I can do is maybe what we can do is just hold off right here. We'll answer everybody else's questions that came in individually. Thank you so much for everybody who asked questions. Any last questions before we hang up, actually? Anybody want to post anything right beforehand? And if you just want to post anything, just let us know, was this useful? Was it too fast? Was it too slow? Did it cover enough topics? Did we cover what you wanted to cover? If we didn't cover what you wanted to cover, let us know. We'll cover it next time. It'd be great. I'd love to get some feedback on the chat session. Jen, did you have any polls or questions or anything like that you wanted to pop up?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm gonna leave this chat session open for just the QA session open for a little while longer. Again, I'd love to have any kind of feedback, good or bad. Sometimes bad is more important than good. Good feels nice though, emotionally. So let us know, pop it up. We'll keep this open for a little while longer. And if there's some more topics along these lines that you want to see, we'd love to hear it. Thank you.